Welcome, students, as we talk about yet another way that we might enjoy vegetables. This time we're not looking at the vegetables as being the main part of the dish so much as it is maybe a garnish or an accompaniment or something to give flavor and variety and texture differences. Because vegetables for sure will do that. You got all the colors, so many different textures, and of course they are nutrient dense. And the two vegetables that we'll be working with today are our peppers. We've got, your recipe says to go with a green and a red one, which is great, but you can choose whatever colors you want. And when I went to the grocery store, the orange peppers, which are my personal favorite, were on sale. So I decided we would go ahead and work with orange and red. A wonderful combination and kind of, I don't know, happy colors, I think. Previous to the filming of this, I've gone ahead and washed my hands. I've assembled all of my ingredients. I've assembled all of my equipment so I can just stand here and just go right quick. I've also done step number 1, which is preheat my oven. Step number 2 is talking about working with a pre-made, what they call a crescent roll. This is that you can buy them by various different name brands. This one happens to be a Pillsbury product, but any brand will do as long as they're a crescent roll. This is my worst part. If this pops while I'm holding it, it drives me through the moon. Okay, excellent. It's not popping, so I'll go ahead and give this a nice whack. Give it a nice whack, and it's going to come undone. Inside of one of these cans, there are 8, and we only need 4. If there are 4 of you in your group, if there's 5, we'll give you an extra one. And I want to not be too rough on this. I'm going to try to separate this into 4 pieces, and if that'll come apart willingly, I'd appreciate it. That's my hint to the dough. I'm going to roll it. Can you see where I've got a little bit? There's 1, 2. I might want to, this would be up to you, a decision that you would want to make. Maybe use your kitchen shears. That way you don't stretch it so much out of shape. That's something funky going on up here at the very tip top where it looks like it folded a little funny. I'm going to use my kitchen shears to kind of help me along with that. All right, and this I could either bake separately. Here at school we'll use them for another kitchen, but use it in a different way. I'm going to separate these into triangles, and if your eye's good, you can see how there's a diagonal from one end to the other. Again, you could pull it, but I'm looking like this kind of got squished in my can. So I'm going to use my kitchen shears. That way then I don't have to stretch it out of shape. I'm going to lay it on my parchment lined cookie sheet. If you're at home, you could just go straight to the cookie sheet. There's enough fat in the crescent rolls that they will not stick. Here at school, I like to use parchment paper simply because it helps us on the cleanup end of things where we're always a little bit under the gun, a little bit tight. Spread that down just a little touch. My second thing that I'm going, sorry, not my second, but my third thing that I'm working with is my cream cheese. Cream cheese is always going to be cold here at school because I'm never that sharp to get it out ahead of time. I can feel at the back of my my regular spoon, it's pretty hard. So I'm going to put this in my microwave for about 10 seconds, then I'm going to check it. So pardon me while I step away and pop this in the microwave, and we're going to microwave it just for that short 10 seconds. I'm going to check it after 10 seconds is over with the back side of that spoon, and if it's nice and soft, then I'm going to go ahead and pull it out. If it's not soft, I'll go ahead and give it another 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds. Let's see where we're at. Oh, can you see? So much softer than it was just a minute ago. All right, so I've gone ahead and softened it. And step number 4 is to take and to stir in some ranch dressing. This is the powdered dressing. You can buy it like in a container like this. It's all powdery. Or you can buy it in the little packages or envelopes. Either one is fine, and I need 1 teaspoon of it. That's what's here in this container. I put it in it just so that it's easy for me to measure. Then I'll put that in with my cream cheese, and using just my regular spoon from my drawer of silverware or flatware, I'm going to combine these, and notice that I'm just using the back side of the spoon. Can I say to smush it together? If I can call that a cooking term, I wonder how that would look. Smush your food. I'm going to go ahead and push those together, blending them till they all look nice and even. And then I'm going to grab this guy right here, and as it says on step number 5, we're going to spread this mixture evenly among these 4 or 5, however many you've got. I know you could use a knife, but to be honest with you, I like that there's a bend in the spoon, and I'm going to use the spoon. I'm going to put a little bit of a dollop on each one of these, trying to get equal amounts on each one. If you just start in, you'll find usually that your first one has the most and your last one has the least. And we want them all to have about the equal amount on them. Looks like I eyeballed that pretty good, to be honest with you. I'm going to use just a little bit here, use just a little bit there, and I think I'm good. And again, I'm going to use the back of my spoon, and I'm just going to spread this, and I don't want to get it all the way to the edges. I want about 1/4 of an inch, just approximately, to leave a little bit of it, kind of like, you know, when you make pizza, you always leave that little bit of an edge. I want to do that same thing, spreading this evenly among it, nice and smooth. And again, using that back of the spoon is just going to help me be a little bit more capable to get that into the edges and what all, because it's got a bend and it's just easier to work with. Okay, got that done. We are going to now go on to the next step, which is to dice the green and red, in this case orange and red peppers. I've got them right here. There's no signs of decay. They're firm. Everything looks good. And here at school, you will get this portion already figured out for you. Let's see, that would be a 1/6. This would be a 1/3. It's not very much, so I'm going to have a 1/3 of each one of these to be what I need. Let's get our red one here as well. Mrs. Wiscomb will just cut right through the core. Isn't that just crazy what I'll do? Just because I'm in a big hurry. And I'll let you take and get rid of the seeds and the membrane. And if you get a stem, you'll get rid of that too. I will pop this out. I'm just going to pop that right out. I'm going to remove this membrane. You see how I'm pulling that out? Pull that out and do that on both of them. I don't want to eat the seeds. They're probably good for you, but they got a bad texture. I'm going to get rid of the seeds on my knife. I am going to get rid of the seeds on my cutting board because I don't want those accidentally working in. And then I'm going to remove any unsightly things. I don't want to eat that stem, so I'm going to cut that off. If your end's a little funky, cut that off. No, that's not membrane. We look okay on the red one. Okay, now we're going to get to the dice. Remember, chop, dice, mince. How do they all differ? Well, mince is as tiny as it can be. Chop is about the size of a Tic Tac. So we want to have it between a Tic Tac and as small as we can be. I'm going to suggest you cut this into about 1/8 inch slices. Okay, notice again how I'm holding that knife. I'm going to cut these just into some thin slices. Nice thin slices, not paper thin, but not very thick either. All right, now I'm going to just line these babies up, and then I'm going to, come on, everyone line up, and I'm going to go ahead, oops, look at that guy sneaking in on the side. I caught him. Then we're going to just cut these into little teeny tiny pieces. Little teeny tiny. We're going to do this the first go round. This is going to be your dice. Just little tiny. Rolling that along, slicing through, getting those just little tiny. Could I make them more tiny? You bet. Could I make them a bunch bigger? Well, that's for sure. You can do that too. All right, as you get closer to your fingers, you can feel the blade resting against your knuckles. You're completely safe because your fingertips are all tucked down underneath, keeping them out of the way. And after you get down to the very end where you might feel uncomfortable, maybe you want to not have as many all lined up. All right, but let's not cut off any fingertips, okay? Slide that always, never along, never up, always away from it. If you felt like you wanted to do that's all you should have to do. That's going to be very small. Doesn't that look like sunshine? Oh, yeah. Okay, so now we're going to take these guys right here and we're going to sprinkle them over the top. Sprinkle them over the top of our crescents. A nice little sprinkle all the way from the top all the way to the bottom. Getting it evenly distributed. Now I went my first go round. Let's see what else I can do. This is going to be just, these peppers are sweet. They're delicious. Have them all kind of evenly. Do you think that's good enough? You say yes. What? Yes. Okay. Now it says we're going to roll them up, and we're going to do it from the bottom, the width of them first. Okay, so we're rolling from the bottom of the triangle up to the tip. We're going to roll the edges under, and you have to make sure that that little tip is underneath. If it's not underneath, guess what? It's going to start unrolling. So we're going to use gravity to hold it in its place. So we'll pull that and we'll just bend it. Flip this over to the other side and roll that up. Let's move that over a touch. Make sure that tip is underneath. Checking all my tips. Are they underneath? Alrighty. Again, I don't want to leave that on top. No, no, no. This tip needs to be tucked underneath. I think I'll put him right there. Okay? Then it says to pop this in the oven and bake it for 10 to 12 minutes or until it's golden or brown. I've been noticing that some of you are just opening up your oven door and shoving it in. Remember, that's a really hot summer day in there. You open the door all of the way. You pull out the rack. I don't want to get any more burns across the forearms of any students of mine because we just are going to be safe. So I'll do that. I'll set my timer for how much? 10 to 12 minutes. Did you say 10 minutes? Then you would be correct. I'll show you on the backside what this looks like. Okay, thanks. See you. Bye.